A few weeks ago I mentioned that I wanted to start doing sport channel reviews. Well, guess what? Today's the day. It's happening. Hey guys, I'm Ich, and here's the thing. I've done 2 channel review videos so far in this series, and today, oh yes, I'm doing another one. It's the finale to this critically acclaimed trilogy. You see, these videos, as easy as they may seem, they actually take me a while to put together. So I've decided to stop doing them. But the good news is, we're going out with a bang. So instead of reviewing only 3 channels like we usually do, I'm going to review not 4, not 5,
not 6, not 7,
but 8 channels. Because there's 8 people waiting for me to review their channel, and I made a promise and I hate to disappoint. Also, I should mention that in the future, if you want me to review your channel, I'll be more than happy to do so. I just won't do it in a video form anymore, but I'll always be keen to give you guys some feedback through emails or DMs or whatever way you reach out to me. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. Anyway, on that note, there's a lot to go through, so let's get to it. First up, Allister Nicholson. Allister only has 1 video on his channel, so this should be short and sweet. The video is a typical showreel that a player looking to be drafted or recruited would put together to showcase his talent. And overall, it's really good. The video is not too long or not too short, there's a good flow, a good use of original audio from time to time where it matters. I thought that was a very nice touch. One tip I could give you is to not be afraid to repeat the 2 or 3 biggest highlights in your video a few times. For example, this monster dunk right here. You could either play it a few times back to back, or maybe in a split screen type of thing like here. Also, instead of having all your text at the beginning of the video, personally I would spread it out a bit more. Otherwise, someone in a hurry might think that it's taking a while for the highlights to start. And if the purpose of this video is to impress a scout or a recruiter who watches hundreds of those, you probably don't want to waste too much time before grabbing his attention. So my suggestion would be to pick a song that starts a bit slower, like you did, and have 1 title, 1 highlight, 1 title, 1 highlight, and keep going back and forth like this during the slow part of the song. Then, on that big bang before the music suddenly ramps up, you use one of the biggest plays, and then it's all highlights from there on. So let's move on to the second channel review. This one is basically the channel of a hockey dad who loves to film and edit his son's games. Although I did notice that some videos start with an opening credit saying Dad Video Productions, while others start with a credit that says Mom Video Productions. So I can only assume that there's some sharing of the workload going on here, which is very good to see. First of all guys, I admire your patience, because when I realized that the videos were going for over an hour, I assumed that you were just putting the whole game there with no editing at all. But when I started watching the videos, I realized that you guys do graphic animations, replays. It's basically like watching a game on TV, but with a much smaller budget, obviously. So my first advice would be that if that's the type of content you want to do, then I would go all out with it and do commentary over the video, maybe have a pre-game interview or post-game wrap-up segment. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, but in my last review video there was a channel called Nano Soccer, where every video would start with a quick 1 or 2 minute highlight reel of the game over music, and then the longer form video would start. I think this could be a good formula for you guys as well. That way people who want to keep up with the team but don't really have the time to watch the entire games will still go to your channel to watch your videos. The next channel is from a guy named Chris who produces videos for a rugby club in New Zealand. His videos are very cinematic, very polished, especially during the intros. There's a nice use of cinematic black bars, speed ramping, there's even sound effects added over transitions, which is always a nice touch. I would be careful not to overdo it with the fancy effect transitions, because to be honest, I'm guilty of this myself. When you use them too much, effect transitions start to stand out. And really, transitions are not meant to stand out at all. They're meant to make your footage blend in. Also, if you want to take your videos to another level, one way of doing it would be to interview players before the game. Get them to talk about the rivalry they have with the other club and how important this game is. That way you can use their voices as a narration for your video to really build up the drama and also establish a clear storyline. And finally, I'm a bit curious to know why you seem to use the same music tracks in all your videos. I think mixing it up a bit would be helpful for your channel as a whole. You know, you're already making videos about the same topic every time, so you have to make sure that at least the delivery is a bit different. The next channel is called Streat Clips Basketball. There's basically a few different styles of basketball videos in this channel, but the one that got my attention the most was the documentary about a team of young kids from South Carolina playing in their first big tournament in Myrtle Beach. Even though I can tell by the quality of the image and the sound that equipment-wise you're probably not using the best shotguns out there and the most high-quality lenses, I think you still make it work. I mean, you've got good storytelling skills, and that's the foundation of any good documentary. Everything else is just gravy on top. I think interviewing the coach was a great idea. Also, sometimes there were little titles popping up letting viewers know how critical the next shot was, which I thought was very creative and smart because at the end of the day, it's about making the most of what you got. One thing I wasn't crazy about was the choice of font. It's quite busy and it can be hard to read when there's a lot of text. I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier about transitions. Most people, especially when they're starting out, have a tendency to be over creative with these things. And it's totally understandable. You don't have lights, gimbals, or drones to make cool shit, so you try to make up for it with the things that you do have, like fancy transitions and stylish fonts. But it doesn't really work that way. It's like adding twice as much salt in your recipe because you don't have any pepper. You know what I mean? Otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing. I think the main thing you need at the moment is just practice so that you can develop your craft, but you're definitely heading in the right direction. The next channel, mgaluski72, I hope that I pronounced that right. That channel has every sport from basketball to flag football, even some softball in there. And this channel has really mastered the art of creative highlight reels. My only negative feedback is regarding the filming side of things. Often in your videos, there's several consecutive clips from the same angle, and it can feel a bit repetitive at times. So I would suggest that you move your camera around a bit more to create more variety in your footage. As I said before, the editing itself is on point. If you want to push yourself a little and get out of your comfort zone, I would suggest you start playing around with After Effects. There's plenty of tutorials online that can teach you how to enhance your videos with effects like the ones you see in this NBA video, for example. Next, channel number 6, Saber Productions. This is a very professional looking channel about high school wrestling. I say very professional because it really is. There's an awesome trailer, lots of good highlight packages, well-produced interviews, graphics, special effects, the whole lot. My only complaint is that sometimes it can feel like there's a bit too much going on visually. Some videos have lens flare and burnt film overlays the whole way through, plus a lot of effect transitions and coloring effects as well, so it can feel a little over the top at times. I would suggest to cool it down a bit with these things, but to be honest, that's a very subjective thing, so others might disagree completely. Anyway, number 7 is a local dude from Sydney who makes videos about professional football, aka soccer. This dude has a very cinematic style, not only visually, but also in the way he tells his stories. There's always a good build-up, a great use of narration, but he also knows when to be quiet and let the vision tell the story. Honestly, I was really impressed, and if you're keen, I might even get in touch the next time I need to get something filmed in Sydney. The only advice I can think of giving you is regarding some of the interviews in your trailer video. Some of them have the interviewee in almost complete darkness. I would suggest always carrying a small light or a reflector when you're doing interviews. These things make such a big difference. And if you don't have them, then at least try to position your subject somewhere where the background won't be brighter than him, because it's much more acceptable to have a dark background than a dark subject. And finally, at number 8, my last review before early retirement is a channel called I Am Gonna Talk, which is also about soccer. This one is a bit outside of my comfort zone because it's not the type of videos that I usually do. They're much more of a news style of videos talking about everything from rumors to match reviews, that sort of thing. That being said, I really appreciate the effort put into the creative style of the show. All the images you use in the background have the same reddish treatment, that's in line with the rest of your graphics, which is really cool because similar channels on YouTube are usually all over the place when it comes to the visual style of their show, but you're very consistent, and that's a good thing because it makes you very recognizable and also very polished. My only constructive criticism would be that you do look a bit small within the frame. I get that you want people to see the images of the footballers properly, but at the end of the day, you're still the star of the show, so don't shy away from it. So as I mentioned earlier, please still feel free to hit me up anytime, either here in the comments below or anywhere on social, really, if you want any tips about your own channels. I'll always be keen to help a fellow sport videographer. I just don't have the time and resources to do it in the video form anymore, but yeah, always happy to help. And it's probably a good thing if you think about it, because I'll probably be able to give you a lot more feedback, a lot more details in an email or in a message than I usually do within the the limits of these videos. So on that note, I hope you appreciated all the reviews. Make sure you go watch the previous 2 videos if you haven't already. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my next sport videography tutorials. And as always, keep filming sports, keep editing sport videos, and also keep playing sports, because that's really the fun part. So yeah, catch you next time. Peace.